Hello, everybody. How are you? I am just going to share this on my other site so everybody can be included and start Instagram. Hang on one second. Oops. Live. Okay. Hi. How are you all? It's good to be here with you. Hello. Thank you for joining today. I'm so happy to be here with you for another interesting adventure in quarantine. Although today I would like to suggest that we could call it something different than quarantine. We could call it a retreat, because really that is what it is that we're doing. We're going into a retreat space. And just as we talked about yesterday, when we're working with fear, we can reorient the fear to looking at what it is that we love and really nourishing and feeding what we love. We can take this time of quote unquote quarantine to instead really go inside of ourselves and really treat it like the very precious opportunity it is to come into a space of self-reflection, deep connection with ourselves, with the people we love the most, with our home, with our yard, and collectively with the community. So that's part of what this is. It's this daily experience. We're going to be coming on every day at noon, like I said, for these daily love episodes, and in order to create community while we're in our retreat space. So I want to start out just talking about why is it. So many of you know, I host retreats, and I also have spent a lot of time in retreat. I typically do a 2-week retreat each year. And I've spent as long as 2 months in retreat. Now, I know that's nothing compared to some people I know, including my former partner, Earl, who I think is on today too. He did a 3-month, 3-day silent retreat, as well as many of my other Tibetan Buddhist friends out there have done very long retreat. And it's interesting when you think about why retreat. So oftentimes people will hear, oh, you're going to go spend 2 weeks in silence or 3 years in silence. And of course, we're not necessarily in silence on this retreat, but why would we want to do that? Why would we want to go inside of ourselves and look inside and see what's going on? The answer is we are preparing the mind for what's next, and we are learning to become self-aware. So when we go into meditation, which really meditation is a retreat from our day, it's a stepping back from our day and a learning to become self-aware of what's going on in the physical body with the breath, with the emotions, with the thoughts, with the mind, and taking that deep step back into the part of ourselves that is unchanging, what we can call consciousness or self-awareness. So we do this regularly, hopefully daily, as a chance to connect with the part of ourselves that's unchanging. When we do a retreat, we have a chance to take a big block of time and really go deep into that experience. So when I do a daily meditation practice, it's great. I love it. It's amazing. And yet at the same time, I also am going to have to get a kid up to go to school, prepare breakfast, start working, do all the things that I do during the day, run to the grocery store, call the family, all the things that we do on a daily basis. When we're in a retreat setting, we really have a chance to not just do that, 20 minutes a day or 1 hour a day, whatever it is that you do. Hopefully you do something. If not, maybe we'll establish that that's valuable. But to really go in even deeper to it, to really take that deeper self-awareness analysis. And when we do that, we learn to observe the mind. We learn to prepare the mind for everything else that it is that we do. Now, it's interesting, people who meditate, people will often ask us the question, how do you make time to meditate every day? And the answer is, I don't have time not to meditate. I have to have that time each day to really calm myself, find my center, because then it changes every single thing I do in my life. It changes the way I'm able to connect with people open-heartedly, because I can only fully connect with someone else if I'm connected to myself. So that's my time to go within, really connect with myself. And then when I go to wake up my son and I snuggle up next to him and I ask him how he slept and how his dreams were and all those things, and then I get on that meeting, I'm actually able to be present for the answer. I'm actually able to really feel what they're feeling, feel what we're feeling collectively, feel the work that we're trying to do or the meal we're trying to create. It teaches you to be really fully and completely present. Bless you, baby. Santiago in the background. And while I'm there, I just see all these beautiful Darby. Hi, Tanya and Roz, all the Lani. Yes, hello, everybody. Sayura. Comeback yoga. I love you all. I'm so happy we're here together. So when we take that time every day to meditate, it will change the way we do absolutely everything. Now, in this imposed retreat that we're all on, I'm really inviting everyone to shift from the mentality that this is imposed to the fact that it could be something really constructive, which it can be. You have a chance to really come home to yourself, literally, figuratively, on all levels. So this next couple of days, I'm going to be taking us all through an experience. And by the way, every single thing I share with you, I'm doing in my own life. And so, I think we can all go through this together of really taking this step back from life and saying, why do I do what I do? How do I do it? And how can I use this time to look at my life and say, am I living the life I want to live? And how can I create the life that I really want to create? So let's start thinking about that for a minute. If we want to do that, the most important thing we can do is commit to doing something that connects us with a state of calm. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to do a breathing practice and a yoga nidra that you can do at absolutely any point in your day. You can always come back to this. And hopefully today it's going to be a little more bite-sized because I want to take you through an experience that you can really drop back into a few times a day and connect with calm. So when we do that daily connection with calm, it's like we're filling up the well for the day. I love this metaphor because if you think about if your body is the well, you don't ever want to have to go down, deep down into the well to get water. Ideally, you want the water to be close to the top so you can just take it and use it. The same with our energy, the same with peace, the same with joy. We want the well to be in some way overflowing, so we don't have to go in deep to get it. And this retreat time is a time to really build up the reserves, really build up that energy. And that's one of the reasons why people do deep retreat, why we do go on retreat each year, because my daily practice tops off the well, but the retreat is what really overflows it. So when I come back to life, I have more energy, more clarity, more hopefully wisdom to share, more insights, more presence. That's really the most important thing that retreat gives us, is the ability to embody awareness or consciousness or our highest self. So when you're thinking about this time, think about that. You're getting to sleep. I slept 9 hours last night. I can't even tell you the last time that I slept that long. And it felt good. Usually I'm a 6-hour night girl. I get up, I feel pretty good, do my practice. And 9 hours felt good. That felt great. So we're having a time that we can do all those things. Anybody else out there sleeping a lot? Oh, hi, Rachel. Hi, Diana. Hey, Earl, Neil, and Cheryl, and Ulrike, and Kathy. Hello. Summer, yay. Anybody else sleeping a lot? Maybe, yes. Hi, Krishna Das. Okay, so I am sleeping a lot and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm feeling that I have more energy than I ever do. So taking time to notice what is the ideal amount of time that you sleep in a day? Is it 6 hours? Is it 8 hours? Is it 9 hours? We're taking this time to really observe our lives, observe ourselves, and see what patterns are best for us. And then when we get to leave the house again and go back to work and back to school and back to the daily pattern, we can actually say, you know what? I felt way better when I slept 8 hours a night instead of 6 hours. I'm going to commit to doing that. Or I felt way better when I started eating at the same time each day. Or I felt way better when I added a half an hour of cardio to my day or a half an hour of yoga. So these patterns are things that we can really observe in our life. So what I'm going to invite you to do, and today's is kind of preparation for tomorrow's workshop. So today, through the rest of this day, I'm going to invite you to really observe your patterns. Notice what time you wake up. Notice what time you go to sleep. Notice when you get hungry. Sometimes we just eat because it's the time of day to eat and we're not actually even hungry. So I invite you to really look at that. Like, am I doing things in the times that make sense for me? And if not, change it. Maybe eating twice a day is better for you. Maybe meditating for a half an hour in the morning and then 10 minutes in the afternoon, and then, a yoga nidra before bed is better for you. And tomorrow we're going to talk about creating a daily practice. But today, just notice the patterns. Spend today really observing, noticing the patterns, noticing how they work for you. And you can do that throughout the retreat and really get constructive with your life. Think of it in a constructive way. Like this next, however long we are in our homes, how can I use this time to really find how to live my best life and to really take that seriously? Has anyone out there, I'd love to get your feedback. Yesterday we had so much good feedback and it really made it helpful. Has anyone out there been really noticing their patterns and noticing if their patterns changed at all? Okay, so one person observed they're sleeping less. Yeah, and Ross says not really. So some people aren't sleeping well. There's so much anxiety. We can talk about that too. So yeah, anybody else noticing their patterns? You guys are quiet today. You can speak up, it's okay. The idea of this too is to create a feeling of community, so we're not all sitting in isolation and alone. So please know your voice is valuable. Okay, well, if anybody wants to chime in, that's great. I'm also sleeping less, yeah. So some people, and also we're using less energy, some of us, during the day because we're not out and about all the time. Hey, Tanya, for me, it's better having a cardio in the morning. Yeah, about the same amount of sleep. This is new for me, yeah. Yeah. So it's easy. I think the first few days of quarantine, there was a lot of feeling of disarray. Like we were just trying to figure out what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And at this point right now, we really have the chance to start formulating, okay, this is the pattern and how I'm going to live it. And I would recommend taking a pen to paper and start creating some rituals. You can start with the general structure of your day. And then once you get the general structure of your day down, when you're going to eat, when you're going to sleep, when you're going to do cardio, when you're going to do your yoga, when you're going to go for your walk, once you have that down, you can look at the rituals inside of the day and start looking at the presence you bring to the activities you do. Are you just cooking mechanically, or are you actually really tuning into the experience? Really being present. Is this the food my family needs today? Is this what I need today? Is it the quantity I need? Should I use different, ways to cook it, or different, less food, more food? Really looking at being so conscious with it. And then when we eat, have you noticed, anybody out there noticed? I know for us, a lot of times we get so busy, we don't really sit down and eat together. We've been having 3 meals a day, sitting down together, having time to talk, having time to connect. And that is such a beautiful thing. I'm so grateful for that time. Okay, so interesting. Earl said, I'm online a lot more. It feels like my brain is in atrophy. I think that is such a good point because like our default now is we have these devices here and there's 10,000 distractions. The default a lot of the time is to go onto these devices and it's the endless rabbit hole, and it can really, really drain us. So there's some great apps. Of course, the iPhones now, most of the phones have different programs where you can see how much screen time you're doing. I like to use the One Moment because it actually sends me alerts. Like if I've spent more than 20 minutes a day on social media, which now that's kind of blown, I need to up the ante here. But it will start sending me alerts like you're 5 minutes over, you're 10 minutes over. So you can use little tricks and tools like that. If you don't want to spend your whole day on the phone and in atrophy, pick up a book, read a book. There's so many, like my space right here is surrounded with books. This computer is stacked on books. So you can really take this time to do things that you might not have done otherwise. Less swimming underwater. Yeah, I'm missing that too. Not eating breakfast early, yoga, meditation, breath work, playtime's been my focus. Beautiful, Summer. She's got 4 kids. If Summer can do meditation, breath work, and playtime with her 4 kids there, you can too. You don't need to leave the house. Yeah, I know. A lot of time saved. That's one of the things we're noticing too. Yeah, trying to read more instead of going on the phone. And I recommend really like picking up a book and reading it. I just picked up this old Natalie Goldberg that I had years ago, and It's such a beautiful experience of really feeling into a meditative space and seeing how you bring that to all the things you do in your life. I also, yes, for those of you who tuned in yesterday, which I see a lot of you who were on there, we talked some about how our thoughts are creating our reality. And I want to go through that a little bit more today. So every single thing we do starts with a thought. What I'm doing right now starts with a thought. My actions, even though I'm not maybe consciously thinking I'll lift my hand, there's a thought involved in that. And from my actions start coming my habits. So what I'm inviting you to look at right now are your habits. And your habits are constructed with all sorts of little actions and all sorts of thoughts, whole stream of them that goes in to create the pattern of a habit. So are your habits serving you? And I invite you, when you start looking at habits, to also start noticing the question that we were talking about yesterday. Are my habits coming from a place of fear? Or are they coming from a sense of love and a sense of really wanting to do the things I do? Are they coming just from rote routine, or are they coming from an embodied place of wanting to be present in the experience? This is what the retreat space gives us. You don't have to be anywhere tomorrow. You just have to be home. So now you have the chance to really go into that. Once we start becoming aware of our habits and being conscious about how the habits that we're creating, we can then start to notice how these habits are forming our character. And to the point about spending all the time on social media, what happens on social media, what happens when we look at the news all the time is all of a sudden, we are surrounded by fear. We are surrounded by getting worried about how many more corona cases there are. We're getting worried about, is there going to be enough food? And that starts becoming our character. And I'm not typically like such a worrier. Like in my general day-to-day life, I have a really joyful outlook. And I've noticed that there's been more weight than usual. And I've been able to be aware of that. And I've noticed creeping in meditation. And I've noticed it creeping in the way I talk to people and the types of things I send to other people. So that's not the person I want to be. I want to be somebody who inspires people. I want to be someone who is living that in my own life in like a really embodied way. So if you find yourself sending 10 articles to your family about all the fear factors, there's one level of like wanting people to be aware of what's going on. Okay, that's good. But when you send 10 articles, which I've done, by the way, that starts to become a character forming habit. And those are the things we really want to watch, that we don't get too involved in that. And instead start sending the pieces of inspiration, the things that'll help people, the things that will give people hope, the things that will help people use this time really, really constructively. So observing the way our habits are forming our character, and then noticing how that's creating our reality. Noticing how if the things you do in your day are really creating the life that you want to live. Are the things that you're doing helping you be the person you've always wanted to be? Because that's really what we have a chance to do here. We have a chance to learn to reset the pattern. We are in this whole planetary reset right now. Nature's resetting, our bodies are resetting, our minds are resetting. So really start to observe, are you creating the life, the destiny that you want? And if you're not, go back through that equation again. Everything starts with a thought. From our thoughts come our actions. From our actions come our habits. From our habits comes our character. From our character comes our life. It becomes our destiny. It becomes our future. It becomes how we're living. And in this moment of retreat, we have this chance to look at, I don't want to just look at the success factors of how much money's in my bank account or how many of my goals have I achieved. I want to look at how I'm doing all those things. So it's not just the what, it's the how I'm doing it. Because if I'm not creating those things calmly, with love in my heart, with joy, with connection, with intention for all of how and what I'm doing, then I don't want to do them. I'd rather step back and say, no, I want to do this from a place of peace. I want to do this from love. I want to do it in connection with the people in my life. I want to do it as a reflection of my highest self, like we were talking about yesterday. I want my actions to come from love and not from fear and not from patterns and not from old tapes that are present and playing in our mind. So let's pause for a minute and talk about, there are several different layers of what it is that we're living out. One of the layers of what we're living out right now is just the effect of our day-to-day lives. So, I have a kid at home. We're all homeschooling now. So there's one pattern of that. It's like the way we live our day. It's my daily morning meditation and yoga practice, getting the kid up for school, getting Santi to school, coming home, working, doing the things I do, going to pick him up. Okay, so that shifted. So we have like the daily patterns, we have the food patterns, but then we have deeper patterns inside of ourselves. We have our inherited familial patterns, the things we inherited from our family. We have deeper genetic patterns that are also playing out right now. So I want to ask you this question, and I really, really want your feedback on this one. This is an important one. I want to ask you, when you were buttoning down and getting everything organized to be in this quarantine, what was it that you hoarded? And I would put money on the fact that pretty much all of us hoarded something. So what were the things that you hoarded? And what I really want to know is, were there any like totally really funny ones, like completely random ones? So 2 random things, I'll just tee it off here. Please type in. I really want to hear your answers. I think it'll be interesting to see. And then you'll find out why I'm asking in a minute. What were the things, the funny things that you hoarded? Of course, all of us got food and water and all that stuff. But what were the other funny things? So Santi's over here. He just brought the funny thing that he hoarded. Come over here. You want to show him? Santi hoarded butter. True story. Santi loves butter. And his first thing when we were prepping for all the things we were going to have, he wanted to make sure we have butter. We have 6 bricks of butter in our refrigerator right now. No joke. We are ready with butter. If anybody runs out, come on over. We've got lots of it. That's what Santi wanted to make sure he had. We can always make bread. We can't make butter. Well, I guess we could with milk, but I don't have that much milk. So that was his thing. My thing, I really love my tea in the morning, and I really love this specific tea. It's this Mariage Frere French tea, and I swear, oh, thank you, my host here. So when this happened, I got online. I swear to you, the first thing I did, I ordered like 10 things of my tea. And I had this kind of innate fear, like I wouldn't be able to get it shipped from France or something, which I know it's ridiculous, and it's totally like something that I should have been more essential. But I really, it wasn't just the tea. So I want to check in, and then we're going to talk about this. Okay. Huge box of tea. Yeah, exactly. 8 boxes of honey nut Cheerios. Yeah. Cereal and juice, water, grew up with hurricanes. Yeah. Food, nothing yet. Wow. Anybody, let's check over here. Omega-3 and vitamins, Aunt Jemima's pancake mix and maple syrup. Okay, now I want to ask you the question. Whatever it is that you hoarded, I want you to feel back into why you wanted that thing. And for all those of you who didn't answer, ask yourself the question too. Why was it that you wanted to stockpile that thing? There's maybe the obvious answer, like I didn't want to run out. But I'll tell you, the reason that I ordered the tea is my ritual. Tea is the one really special thing I do in my day. And I really like this one kind of tea. I know it's expensive. I know it's ridiculous. I know there's a carbon footprint attached to it. And at the same time, that is like my sacred tea ritual time. And it makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel creative. It's what I do before I write. It's what I do after I finish my meditation practice in the morning to really like start to ease into the day. There is a sacredness about it to me. It's something very, very special. And it wasn't about the tea. It was about me having the thing that is like one of my food rituals that requires something outside of myself in order to have that experience. So I invite you. Okay, so comfort. Yeah, every time I go, most of the things are done. Ginger shots from my juice bar and granola. I did buy a box of tea. Yeah. So, okay, let's check over here too. Ray also got all that. So a lot of us got tea. Wow, this is interesting. You know how they say people are in the same community consume the same types of things. I guess we're the tea crowd. Okay, nothing. Yeah, you're not locked in. Lucky you. life is better with the small pleasures and yumminess. Yeah, I totally agree. So as you're starting to look at those like things that you get, look at why you're doing them. And of course, there were some silly ones too, that like the toilet paper. I mean, why we're all obsessing over toilet paper really is crazy. So, but it's also not crazy, because it's interesting. I had a friend whose family came from Cuba, and she said, we never had enough toilet paper. And for me, toilet paper is like one of those very human things that like to feel like you're having a decent life, you should at least have this thing of toilet paper. Like that, in her life, that was really something that was like a dignity issue. So anyway, it's just interesting to look at and start really looking at our patterns on all those levels. Are they the things we do because we want to do, because our family always did it? So it was interesting, the comment about Guru Kim. She wrote that she had water because she grew up where there were a lot of hurricanes. So again, that's like a family pattern. Like she grew up doing it. So we got to make sure we have enough water. And so to notice those deeper archetypal patterns too. So, hello. Yes, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Rachel was one of my very first yoga teachers, and I love her so much. Yes, your people are atypical in a good way. Thank you. I love you, atypical people. Okay, so the next thing I want to mention is all of these things we've been talking about so far involve observing our patterns and observing our habits. But what we also want to do during this time is take time to really listen. Listen deeply inside of ourselves, listen deeply to the people in our life, listen deeply to consciousness, to awareness, to creation. And so when we take time out to really listen, to step back and observe, we start connecting with awareness. The minute you step back, whether it's during meditation, we're going to do it in a moment, to observe a breath, to observe your mind, to observe your body, to observe the way another person might be feeling, you are taking a chance to really connect with that unchanging part of yourself. And it will be this stabilizing force that will carry you through this experience in a whole different way. So what do we do when we listen? So a lot of people think they sit down on the meditation cushion and all of a sudden, like, they're just going to be zapped out into these various bliss states. And that's awesome if that's your experience, but I just want to acknowledge it's not the experience for a lot of people. And so we want to acknowledge that might not be the case. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You can think of meditation as a practice of deep listening. And then every single thing you do in your day can become a practice of deep listening. When you listen deeply, let's say, like, oftentimes when we need to make a decision, when we're not sure about something, when we have an emotion come up, we try to think our way through it. We pick up the phone and call someone we trust. We, just kick into that habit pattern that we just talked about. Instead, I'm inviting you during this time of retreat to take time back, step back, and ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? And then listening without a precondition for what the answer might be. What happens when we listen to ourselves is that we start sourcing answers from a different place. We start sourcing it from consciousness, from a higher self. Sometimes we might initially feel the hits, the old imprints of the brain telling us what to do. But I promise you, if you really learn to feel your way into the answer in a very somatic sense, the answers will start to come from a deeper place of consciousness. Those answers will feel embodied. Those answers will feel harmonious. Those answers will feel authentic. And so that's the invitation to, instead of trying to think our way into what do we do next, we can start to feel our way into what we do next. All right. Now, the other thing I really encourage you to do during this time is get feedback. We are in this space of stopping where, first of all, we're in an enclosed space with our immediate family. And then we're also in a space where we have time to call the people we love in our life, to FaceTime, to have some of those great group chats. Last night, my son Santiago was playing his favorite math game, Prodigy, with his two cousins. We have time to do these things that we might not have time to do in our regular routine. But we can also use them really constructively to ask people the questions. Is there something about myself that you feel that I'm not seeing that I really need to see? And then notice what shows up when you really show up. What shows up when you're really present with someone instead of like chopping vegetables and doing the things you do when you're talking to them? What shows up when you really listen and really sincerely connect with that other person? It's one of the reasons I love FaceTime so much more than I love texting or just talking on the phone in an audio way, because you actually stop and you have to really look at the person and connect with the person. And that breeds such a deeper layer of connection. So what shows up when you show up? What shows up when you really listen deeply and get that layer of feedback from people? Every year at the beginning of the year, I ask the people who I'd say are like the 10 people who I spend the most time with. And that includes my work colleagues. It includes my family, my closest friends, my partner, whoever it is that's in my life in that moment, who are the most important people to me. I ask them the question, what is one thing that I'm not seeing about myself right now? What is one thing you think I should really know? And I invite you all to do that and really listen. Listen to what they say. And hopefully it comes from a place of love and a sincere respect and interest in what it is that is in your best interest. And then notice if they ask you back. And I would encourage you to think about the answer before you respond, but know that sometimes that happens too. So take this time to really listen to the people in your life. I don't know if you've all noticed, and I'd love to hear, I found Santi and I telling a lot more stories to each other. A lot more going back and looking at old pictures and really spending quality time, like telling the stories, looking at the things that are important, sharing old pictures with family and friends. I think that's a really beautiful use of technology, a means of looking back, a means of looking at who we are in this moment, and also hopefully in this conversation we're having today, being self-aware of who's the person that I really want to be when I come back to life and move back out into the world. This is that big reset moment. So the invitations this week and today, hello hearts and hello love. I'm so happy to see you all. Shakti. This is like a global community. I love seeing everybody coming out to play. So I invite you in this next day and in this next retreat time, we're going to talk about something different tomorrow in terms of the daily patterns and daily sadhana. But I invite you today, this next day, to really connect with that self-awareness piece, learning to observe yourself as you're doing things, really be present, and then be so fully present while you listen to yourself and to others. And again, that connection, the more you are able to listen to yourself and really feel the answers in your body, coming from that deeper place of consciousness and presence, the more you will be able to listen to others in a really wholehearted and embodied way. So take this as a chance to look at not just what you do, but how you do it. That's the invitation, to become really acutely self-aware, and also to do the things that are really lifting you up and not holding you back. And I encourage you to bring that in when you start to look at technology or how much you're using technology, to really ask yourself the question, is it lifting me up or is it holding me back? And cut out maybe, like as if maybe doesn't exist. Like really answer the question, is it lifting me up or is it holding me back? 20 minutes of social media a day lifts you up, maybe. I don't know. It does for me. I like seeing what everybody's doing. A half an hour a day, an hour a day, it doesn't lift me up anymore, unless I'm doing something constructive like this that hopefully creates community and supports people. So ask yourself those questions. Also, we're about to do the yoga nidra meditation. I'm starting something new today. And that is, I just want to say, first of all, like, I'm so grateful to you all for coming out and enjoying this and experiencing it and sharing in this space. It really has been a beautiful community. And I've been getting these amazing messages from people who are really taking this in deeply and really feeling like it's a lifeline to the things that are important. And I just want to say I'm so grateful that it's touching your heart in that way. Thank you so much for receiving it. Thank you so much for showing up. And during this time, I'm going to be teaching various things. This is going to be one of them, but I'm also going to be teaching some more formal classes. On these, I really want to put a lot of time and thoughtfulness and attention into them. And I'm also holding space for the reality that I also need to make a living, and all of my in-person events have canceled. So this is totally free, totally given selflessly from my heart. You don't ever have to pay me one single penny. But if you feel like you can and you feel like you value these experiences, I encourage you to make whatever financial donation or offering feels good to you. Maybe it's $1, $2, maybe it's $20, maybe it's $100. I don't know. Whatever value you feel this has for you and that you can do easily, you're welcome to share it. And please do not do it if you don't feel good about it. I am giving this from the bottom of my heart, selflessly, from my heart to yours. I don't expect anything in return. And if you do want to make a financial offering, you can do so to mollybirkholm@gmail.com on PayPal. So I'm sending you that link right now on both places. So you can, if it feels right to you, do that. And if it doesn't feel right to you, please know it's all good. And I know that this is a really financially difficult time for people. Okay, so thank you both. Love seeing you there. All right, should we breathe and yoga nidra? Hey, Lara. Oh my gosh, I love you all. I love that we can come together like this. Like, our community is really spending time together, and it feels so, so good. All right, so we are going to do a breath today. We're talking about being self-aware. This breath is what I do when I need to feel self-aware. Sats, you want to join me? Come here, my buddy. Santi just got out of the pool and the bathtub, so he is a little wet noodle. So you can sit up for the first part, or you can lie down if you want. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a whole body breath. So you're going to start out and you can close your eyes if you want, or you can leave them open. Just keep you're in here. Hey, AJ. All right, so we're going to do a full body breath. So start first of all by feeling the surface your body is resting upon. This is a really amazing breath to improve self-awareness. Feel the whole symphony of experience that's happening in your body right now. And like we were just talking about, drop back into that real feeling of presence. Being aware of the moment. Observing the sensation of your body. Now we're going to use the breath to explore sensation in the body. So on an inhalation, breathe up from the soles of your feet, up through your legs, up through your pelvis, your torso, your hands and arms, shoulders, neck, head, breathing up through the whole body. And then as you exhale, you're going to sweep the breath down through the whole body, from the head, down through the neck, shoulders, chest, torso, pelvis, legs, feet. We're going to do several more really deep breaths like this. And you're going to use the breath to observe sensation in the body as you're doing it. So breathing in and up through the whole body. And then as you exhale, breathing down through the full body. Take several more breaths, really feeling all the sensations in the body as you breathe. Letting each breath bringing you even more fully into the present moment. Notice if there's a place in the body where the energy is getting stuck, where it's not moving. And this time when you breathe, feel like you can really direct your breath to that place and nourish it, loving it, caring for it. Just as if you know someone is hurting in their life, you try to love that place in them. Just as if a body part gets injured, you try to care for that place. Use your breath to care for the places in your body where you might feel that tension or that stuckness. Keep breathing long, full breaths. Inhaling up through the feet, the legs, whole torso, right out the head. Exhaling down through the whole body. Noticing those places where the energy feels stuck and sending the breath to those places. The word prana means the root of the word, even though we translate it as life force, similar to chi. The root of the word prana means to activate. So with the breath, you can feel like you're activating your entire body, lighting it up. As you exhale, grounding and centering, letting go. Take several more breaths. Embodied presence. How present can you be with your breath? And then you can open the eyes after the next breath and just notice, how do you feel now compared to when you started breathing? You're welcome to comment if you want. Do you notice any difference?
Yeah, I felt like my heart rate go down.
You felt your heart rate go down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That is actually what happens when we breathe deeply. Our heart rate does go down. Hey, Lucia. All right. So anybody else notice how that breath affected them? Happy to see you. All right. So maybe you're all zenning out lighter. Hi, Tim. Okay. Great. So now we are going to do a yoga nidra guided meditation. So you can snuggle up.
Oh.
You ready for yoga nidra?
No, I have like a sniffly nose.
You have a sniffly nose, you don't want to do yoga nidra?
No.
Okay, you don't have to. Go do some Legos. We are going to do some yoga nidra calmer. Hi. Hi, Danielle. I'm so happy you're here. All right, everybody. Anybody else notice anything? The hands are shimmering. Yes. Oh, Inger says you too. Calm. Yeah. So we just did 2 minutes of full body breathing. That's it. That's all it takes sometimes is 2 minutes of deep full body breathing. All right, so now we are going to do a yoga nidra. So go ahead and take this moment to lie down if you'd like to. If you'd rather sit up, you can sit up, really. You can be in whatever position you want. For those of you who have never practiced yoga nidra, you don't have to do anything. You can even fall asleep. It's a very restorative form of mindfulness meditation that helps you be really tuned in and present with physical sensation, with your breath, with your mind. It really teaches you to be self-aware, like we were talking about during the discussion portion today. So go ahead, lie down, get all cozy, start settling in. We call it the nest. And the more you do yoga nidra, you'll start to really create your nest. I have a favorite blanket that I use. Sometimes I use an eye pillow, sometimes I don't. I like something under my knees. It helps take the pressure off of my lower back. So just take a minute to adjust your body. If you want to take a little sip of water or something first, you can always do that. Preparing for the practice. Today's practice is going to be centered around self-awareness and learning to cultivate the ability to be fully and completely aware of the whole symphony of human experience in this moment. And as we talked about, when we're self-aware, then suddenly we're not owned by those things. We get our strength back, we get our peace back, we get our clarity back. It's when we live like this, totally attached to them, that they can cripple us and cause suffering. But the more we can loosen the grip, you know, the word worry comes from the German, or from the root word to strangle. So instead of strangling, we can start to loosen the grip and become self-aware. And that's what we're going to do right now in the Yoga Nidra. So adjust your body, closing the eyes, and taking a few moments to become aware of your surroundings, noticing sounds, smells, tastes, the feeling of the air on your skin. And then take several more of those full body breaths we were just doing. On the inhale, breathing in from the soles of your feet, up through your legs, up through your torso and your head. And then breathing down through the whole body. Now, feeling the heart. We want to start out by just listening to the beat of the heart. Feeling the pulse. And then listening, if the heart could speak. Notice if there's an intention present for today. What does the heart need? What is it that you are feeling in the heart? Is there some pain or fear? Is there something else? Set an intention for today's practice. Sankalpa, that which is born from the heart, that which will bring us into harmony. Set that intention, sending it out like a point on the horizon, and you can feel it becoming true. Feeling deeper into the heart, really into the back of the heart. And asking yourself the question, what is it that I truly want more than anything else in life? What is my heart's deepest desire? Whatever it is, place it in a sentence in the present tense, as if it's already true. I am healthy, whole, and complete, just as I am. I am pure being, pure awareness. Now connecting with a sense of safety and comfort inside the body. Feeling into the body, noticing what parts of the body feel secure and stable, perhaps feeling into the support of the surface beneath you, and mentally bringing up any other mental images that can help you feel safe and secure, perhaps of a place in nature, perhaps a favorite childhood place, or snuggled up with your favorite people. Or pets. Feeling safety and comfort start to arise in the body. Knowing you can always create safety inside, even if you don't feel safe outside. So connect with that internal sense of safety and comfort. Letting the whole body start to unfold into it. And then bring your attention to your physical body. Begin to notice what is present in the body. What is the sensation of the physical body, just as you noticed it during the breathing? Notice it now. Where is your attention drawn in the body? Observing the face and head. What is the feeling of the face and head? What does the sensation feel like? If you just felt the face and the head, notice where it feels contracted. Notice where it feels spacious. Feeling down into the neck and the throat. Feeling that sensation. Feeling down into the shoulders. Sensation moving down the arms. Feeling the palms of the hands, and maybe even squeezing the palms of the hands, making fists with the hands, tightening the hands, and then releasing and noticing the sensation as you release. Now feeling the chest and the upper back, feeling the sensations as the chest expands with each inhale and releases with each exhale. Feeling down into the abdomen and lower back, sensation. Down into the hips and pelvis. Feeling the legs. What do the legs feel like? Tuning into the feeling of the body. Whole symphony of sensation of being you in this moment. And feeling as if all parts of the body become one. Sense the sensation of your entire body now. Whole body Noticing how different parts of the body feel different. And ask yourself the question, how does the inside of my body feel compared to the outside of my body? The skin, the clothes on the skin, the air. And feel inside the body once more, all the sensations inside the body. And then feel outside the body, all the sensations outside the body. Now feel both inside and outside the body at the same time. And stepping back and asking yourself the question, who is observing the body? Step back into witnessing awareness, aware of the sensations in the body, but connected to that deeper state of stillness, of peace. Then begin to observe the natural flow of the breath. Notice if the breath may start to change a little bit as you notice it. Observe where you're feeling the breath in the lungs. Are you breathing more into the chest or more into the abdomen? Is the breath shallow or is it deep? We're going to become acutely aware for a moment of how the body is breathing and how that affects the mind. If you'd like, you can place one hand on your belly and the other hand on your chest. Notice the way your mind feels. Notice if you're breathing more into the chest or the abdomen. Now, just as if you were holding a sleeping baby and had your hand on the baby's belly, breathe deep down into the belly, inflate the belly and even down into the pelvis. Inflate the whole lower portion of the body. Fill up the lungs all the way to the top, till you can't get any more air in. And then as you exhale, let go of all the air. Breathing deeply, these full lung breaths, breathing deep into the pelvis, into the abdomen, up into the chest, filling up the lungs all the way. And then as you exhale, feel yourself as if you're wringing out a rag. Get every last ounce of air out. And then breathe like this, really full-bodied inhales. Fill up the lungs till you can't get any more air in. And then exhale, letting go. Take several more breaths like this, tuning into the rhythm of the breath, feeling as if the breath is spherical, Like on the inhale, you're spherically expanding out into the space around the body. And then as you exhale, release. Like a balloon inflating and deflating. Feeling out with the breath into the space around you, inhaling deeply. Exhaling, release. On the next few breaths you do at your own pace, see if you can find a single cell in your entire body that is not expanding on the inhale and releasing on the exhale. Becoming really acutely aware of the effect of the breath in the body, how the entire body is engaged in this experience of breathing. One more breath, seeing how fully conscious you can be for the breath. And then letting your hands release down by your sides. Now becoming aware of the mind, just as if you are watching a movie. Start to watch the thoughts. Observing what happens in the mind. Like little thought bubbles popping up. When a feeling or an emotion or a thought does arise, observe where you feel it in your body. Each thought, each emotion has an associated physical sensation. So identify a thought or an emotion, and then drop it down and observe the feeling in the body. And then just once you identify a thought or an emotion you'd like to work with, and you feel where you feel it in the body, listen to it just as we were listening to the feelings in the body, just as you'd listen to a friend. Listen to the emotion. What does it want? What does it need? Is there some action it's asking you to take in the world? Let it tell its story. If it's finished, notice another thought or another feeling or emotion. Notice where you feel it in the body and let it tell its story. Connect with the heart, connecting with a sense of gratitude, noticing what arises as you sit with gratitude. Noticing if a feeling or an emotion arises. Notice if a person or an animal arises, perhaps humanity, or grateful for food, shelter, the planet, nature. Maybe even grateful for the challenges that are here, teaching us whatever it is we need to learn. Notice as you feel into gratitude, how that feeling starts to evoke a sense of love and connection, a feeling of abundance, opening to that feeling of abundance. As if the whole body is open to all the blessings that are constantly here. Let that feeling of gratitude unfold into the depths of love. Love for everything you're grateful for. And let that love start to unfold into a deeper experience of peace. The backdrop of your human experience. Notice how it's love that brings you into your body. Notice how it's love that guides you home to your true nature. Feeling back into that love. Feeling back and observing with love, with eyes filled with love, with sensation filled with love. Observing your body, all the sensations present. Observing your mind, whatever's present. Consider yourself the one who is aware. Aware of the thoughts, the feelings in the body. Loving them all. Welcoming them with openness and curiosity. Also open to the deep feeling of peace behind the moment. How peace is a constant companion. It gets overlooked when we watch the story. Feel back into the stillness that is your true nature. Feeling into the part of you that is healthy and whole and complete, just as you are. Feel how the stillness holds you. Steady, silent, embodied presence. And into the stillness, bring to mind your intention once more. Feel that. Deepest heartfelt desire. Feel that. Embodied presence. And then let yourself start waking up to the space around you, feeling the temperature of the air on your skin. Noticing any sounds or smells around you. Letting a deeper breath come into the chest. Maybe a little movement's ready to happen. So come back from your meditation. Notice as you're coming back, is there something you've gotten from this experience, an insight, something you want to carry with you into the day, whether it was the lecture portion or the discussion portion or the yoga nidra? If you'd like to share it with the group, we'd love to hear whatever you have to say. If you want to just stay in your yoga nidra space, that's fine too. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. We're going to talk about creating a routine that really nourishes us tomorrow. So feel free to tune into that in preparation. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. Love you.